Impressions of how the offense developed over the course of the spring?
Yeah, I was just talking with the group about that. I think we've gained some trust and some confidence. I asked the whole group how they felt like spring went, and LJ was one of the guys that spoke up, and he said, I feel like we played with a lot more energy as spring progressed. He said, I felt like early on we were just kind of flat, and then as spring went on, we played a whole lot better, but played with more energy every day. And I asked why, and he and a few guys said they didn't know, and then another guy, Nolan Gorsica, who's probably improved as much as anybody, said we've built trust, which I think meant a lot coming from him, you know. So for him, it means, hey, you guys trust me, and so I'm playing better. You know, I think in a larger sense, there's trust between players and coaches. There's trust between players and players. And I think the longer you're with a group, the more that comes. And then the more that comes, then you become a little bit freer to be yourself. And when you can be yourself, then you're showing your true self, and that energy, I think, shows up. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing. Threw a lot at him, made it really hard for him from a mental standpoint. From the playbook, gave them a bunch every single day, and I think they've handled it well. But I'd say it's been a really productive spring, and as opposed to some others I've been a part of, I feel like we're trending in the right direction. I wish we had another week or two.
Jeff, when it comes to taking over an offense, how much do you look at what made them successful and then things you know and combining them?
So it depends. I've been a part of a takeover where that offense wasn't very good before, and in that case, I told the team this, and I actually meant it. I said, I haven't watched any film from the past. Now, I kind of knew those teams, and so I kind of knew what they were doing, but I said, I'm not watching it because I don't want to know, and I don't want to prejudge. I don't want to walk in with predetermined ideas and opinions, and I want to give a clean slate to everybody here. And I think when I said that, then I could really mean it. Here it's completely different. You're walking into an offense that's been extremely successful, and you've got a lot of those coaches that have been a big part of it, and a lot of the players that have been part of it back. And so just the opposite has been true. I've spent a lot of time watching game by game, watching cut-ups, talking with coaches about what made them successful. Andy and I know each other and have known each other, and so conversations with him have been a part of it. Certainly conversations with Lance about his vision for us as a team and us as an offense. And so I've done everything I can to try to learn and come in and be a part of what's already been successful and try to make it a little better.
What have you seen from the quarterbacks this spring?
Man, so much improvement. You know, Jalen not being able to do everything, but golly, when he goes, man, is he good. And I just love his temperament. You know, he's upbeat, he's got a smile every day. Like an unusual combination of being fiercely competitive, but really happy and outgoing as well. Just love his vibe, and I think that's really valuable for a team. And he's had a really good spring with as much as he could do. Cole, I think, has improved so much. When I look at, you know, it's so hard to play as a freshman. I mean, it's got to be the hardest thing I can imagine in all of sports would be to play football as a freshman in college. And did certainly an admirable job last year, but you look at how he's grown from then to now. Z has done just a remarkable job just helping him learn the offense, becoming just a more accurate passer. Yeah, I can't say enough about spring he's had. And then Zeke, wildly talented, and he's that guy that's where Cole was a year ago, you know, just learning the offense. But man, there are moments where, a lot of moments, it's not occasional, where just every once in a while you see a flash and go, wow. Every day there are very impressive things that you see from him. And so really, really excited about his future too.
We talked to Jim about those two guys in particular, especially Zeke. And what have you told him about goal setting for year one and how he handles that? for himself?
I haven't told him anything
Okay.
about that.
Well, what did you tell him?
We're not to that point yet. I mean, actually, just this next week we'll be having our player evals, sit downs, and that sort of thing. And what would I tell him? I think I would say what I would say to every player, and that is you should be pushing to be the best version of yourself and get yourself ready to play, whatever that means. You better be ready to play, whether you enter the season or enter game 9, 1, 2, or 3 on the depth chart. Get yourself ready to play. And, you know, for freshmen, I always say, if you're not preparing to be the starter, then you won't be. And so you never know when that moment's going to come. And some guys, they're thrust into it and they haven't prepared for it. Sure. If they've been prepping that way, which Zeke is, he just texted me yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, just out of the blue, Coach, what I need to work on. So he's got a real hunger.
Can you tell us about the Fab Four and how you arrived at those principles for the offense?
Yeah, so it's just some things that I talk about a lot. How do you know about it?
A couple of players you mentioned. I think Luke was the first one to vaguely allude to it and be like, that's Coach Grom's.
Yeah, that means it's kind of our thing, you know. It's just a way I want them to play. That's what I would say, you know. And I'm talking to them a lot right now about playing fearless and being willing to go out and play in such a way that they're not worried about making a mistake. A lot of players, I remember this myself, when you make a mistake, you're thinking about what the coach is going to say when I get to the sideline. And so I tell them, you're never going to meet the enemy on our own sideline. How that's going to look on film, what my teammates are going to think of me, and this goes back to that trust that I was talking about earlier. If we can develop the kind of trust that every player feels like they can be the best version of themselves, then it's okay to make a mistake. And that's a big part of playing fearless, I think. And then that gives you an opportunity to go out and really play that way. So I'm playing every play in such a way that I'm playing to win rather than not to lose. So an example would be if I'm an offensive tackle and I'm pass setting someone, I'm not doing it passively and waiting on him because I'm afraid I won't miss him. I'm going to get him and I'm being aggressive and I'm getting my hands on him right away. If I'm a receiver and ball's in the air, playing it safe would be waiting for the ball to come to me to make sure I can make the sure-handed catch, as opposed to going up, snatching it with confident hands and making the play when the ball is at its highest point. Playing fearless, being willing to make a challenging throw, even though it might be a tight window, you believe you can make the throw and you believe that your player can make the catch. I want us to play that way. And so that's one of the things I've been talking to him a lot about.
We talked to Logan Brown about his own growth this spring. Just what have you seen from him in terms of his own progression at left tackle?
Yeah, a lot of potential. A guy that's, I think, in a lot of ways still trying to knock the rust off. Not quite himself yet, I'm sure, in many ways, but really coachable, really wants to do well, and I think he's gotten better every day.
Harry Stewart is also someone that I think Coach Leipold's talked a lot about. Just what stood out to you most about him kind of in his first spring?
Really intelligent, really coachable for a young guy. And I do think running back is a position that young guys, it's a little bit easier than playing quarterback or offensive line, something like that. Had a lot of freshman running backs that have had a role, and so I think he will. But, you know, his ability to be coachable, learn the offense in a short amount of time has been really impressive. And this offense is a little more challenging than some others, I think, and so it makes it even more impressive. And then beyond that, just from a physical standpoint, he's kind of that unique combination of size, power, and long speed, and it's pretty to watch when he gets going.
Jeff, you talked about this. You got some vets, an older team. Has there been anyone that's kind of surprised you in terms of leadership this spring outside of that
leadership?
Group? Yeah.
Outside of that group,
right? Because those guys you would expect, right? But
yeah. Aside from the guys you would expect, I would say Cole. I think Cole and Zeke are both natural leaders, but I feel Cole's presence. When he's on the field, when he's on the sideline, in the huddle, I feel his energy.
Right.
How do you feel with the offensive line as a whole?
I think we're still a work in progress, but that we have made progress. I think, you know, we're working to replace a couple of really good players, and we've got a couple other guys who are in position to challenge for not only those jobs, but a couple other jobs, and we've moved some guys around and seen what they can do at different spots. And I feel confident that they'll be a good unit. I really feel like Coach Arpalsa is going to get them there. I feel confident that they really want to be good. Whether they can truly be dominant and lead our offense with a team that's filled with so much talent at the skill positions, I don't know. I think that'll be an interesting piece of how far this offense can go.
Anything else for Coach Grimes?